All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our pre-meeting program. This evening, we'll be highlighting Free to Love, an organization based right here in West Seattle. Because September is Suicide Prevention Month, we invited Free to Love into our program, and they do amazing work around providing safe spaces for youth who are dealing with mental health issues and the trauma of bullying. Free to Love seeks to help empower young people and give them positive outlets to develop their voices and thrive. Araya Sandus is a Free to Love board member and director of programming and LGBTQ+ outreach. Araya has spearheaded outreach events and programming since 2014, and she leads is a lead program facilitator and mentor who has led hundreds of workshops for underrepresented youth and has trained over 200 partner organizations. She also plays an instrumental role in the curriculum development at Free to Love. Araya has been honored as a Youth Service America Young Hero and received a Gold President's Volunteer Service Award from my boyfriend and your former president, Barack Obama. This was for her commitment to volunteerism. Please help me give Araya a warm welcome, and I will hand off to you.
Thank you so much. That you did a beautiful job. I'm glad it's being recorded. It's so nice to meet you all. Thank you for letting me into your week and spending time learning more and being community members. So I really appreciate it. I'm really excited to share more about Free to Love and more specifically our primary form of programming, which is the Express It program. I'll share my screen and we can go through some pictures and presentation. I do not need the chat. Bye-bye. I'm very excited again to share Free to Love with you. A little bit more about Free to Love. So Free to Love is a national award-winning organization. We serve approximately 20,000 under-resourced and marginalized youth, and we've partnered with over 250 organizations annually, honoring hearts, dreams, and visions of youth through innovative and impactful arts-based programming. Free to Love creates spaces where youth are seen and heard, and where they can learn healthy social-emotional learning tools. They can see themselves in art, and that they can be reminded that they are powerful and loved and perfect just as they are. We also want to foster empathy and community connection and creativity. We really want to be a space where youth can be themselves and fully thrive and express their hearts and souls and build community while they do it. It's very important to us. We really want youth to know that they deserve to have access to mental health care spaces where they can find and build community and talk about what's on their minds and in their hearts. We know it's not always easy to ask for help. I know we all sometimes have friends that are like, if you're going through a hard time, you can call me. And we believe them, but sometimes that barrier of actually calling or asking for help can feel insurmountable. And so we really want our spaces to be the space they know they can turn to and find support and turn their pain into power and purpose. Free to Love has been thriving for about 12 years, and we're really proud of what we've accomplished. We've won multiple awards for our outreach that we're very proud of, and we've had positive impact on youth. Some of the awards that are mentioned here are that we've been named a top-rated nonprofit for over 12 years. Our founder was honored this year as the L'Oreal's Woman of Worth by L'Oreal Paris, and she was selected from over 10,000 nominees, which was a very big deal, and we were really excited to celebrate and just have the youth that we work with really be acknowledged more than anything and have their needs really heard. As you can see here, they share what's important to them. I'm going to go up a little bit and share some of this. So for example, this photo on the right, we partnered with Burien colleges and local Seattle colleges to create an LGBTQ+ safe space where youth could share their coming out experiences, how they wanted to be seen. It was often the space where they had their pronouns respected for the first time and were really honored. And this photo on the left, we created a banner to be displayed at a Big Brothers Big Sisters space for under-resourced youth and their mentors to connect and have conversations about advocacy and mental health and community building together. And that's also really special to us. And we'll talk more about partnerships and people we've worked with. But for now, I would really love to share some Some of the other spaces that and events that we have created in the past, and then we'll move on to our Express It program. We have created youth empowerment concerts in the past where we've invited under-resourced youth to a concert featuring artists who use their voice to make a change, to remind youth of their inner power and to use their voice for good, as well as that arts have the power to heal and really remind us that we're not alone. I'm sure we all have a song that connects to a moment where we're processing sadness, a moment that helps us when we want to feel joy or remind us of someone we love. Or even actors that helped us feel seen. And so really just allowing youth again to see themselves in the artists that they're enjoying. We've also led an LGBTQ+ roundtable that centered the voices of young adults on the importance of representation, seeing and telling our stories, and the power of standing with a community in a shared goal of joy and change making. And we shared it with LGBTQ+ youth groups all around the nation and GSAs to ensure that youth know that they're not alone and that they deserve to hear their stories told. And lastly, we created a mental health awareness Cirque du Soleil show, where again, we invited local youth and under-resourced youth who wouldn't normally have access to these types of arts, such as Big Brothers Big Sisters organizations, under-resourced LGBTQ+ groups, and other local organizations to experience a story that highlighted standing up for yourself, that talked about bullying and how to advocate for yourself and your friends, and again, reminding them that they deserve to be seen just as they are. Our primary focus of programming currently is our Express It program. We're really proud of this. As I'm sure you're all aware, we recently have all gone through a pandemic that was very isolating and stressful, and not only put a lot of our physical health at risk, but created and exacerbated a lot of mental health struggles. And so in the beginning of the pandemic, when we couldn't do in-person programming the same way that we used to, we brought together a youth collective, child development specialists, mental health professionals, designers, local artists, and copywriters to design Express It, a program that supports and educates marginalized youth that were most significantly impacted by COVID, the lack of mental health care, and the lack of community spaces that we no longer had access to find each other. Express It is a national interactive art-based program that services under-resourced communities who don't have equitable access to mental health care and access to the arts. So multicultural, BIPOC, low income, displaced, LGBTQ+, and foster youth. And we focus on ages 10 to 22. Express It uniquely combines creative workshops, most of which I've led, or trained facilitators that I've trained myself lead. And we walk them through the 72-page creative expression activity book that uses SEL, or social emotional learning practices, art therapy techniques, and writing and journaling to help youth express their thoughts and emotions and acquire and share tools together to help them deal with anxiety, depression, and other mental health struggles. To date, as we mentioned, we've partnered with over 250 organizations and distributed over 20,000 Express It journals and facilitated several hundred workshops. Just so you have a rough idea of what a workshop looks like, we tend to pick a theme to focus on with them, and often we partner with the youth a part of the programming to really learn what's important to them, things that they want to talk about and share with each other. So we have pages on what healthy relationships look like, how to process helpful and unhelpful anger, how to advocate for the world around you, how to celebrate your culture and identity, and what tools you have around you if you're feeling overwhelmed, hopeless, or depressed, and really reminding them what they have access to around them. And if they don't have access to their needs, how we can help them find the support and tools that they need. That's very important to us. Here are some of the pages that youth have created in the past, talking about emotional identification and what emotions look like to them, what they would advocate or change about the world, how they can turn their anger into art and really empower themselves to care for the world. And we're very proud of this. And part of our primary goal with the creation of the characters of the journal itself, the page on the bottom right is the back of the journal, is to have them be as gender neutral as possible so youth can really project their emotions and see themselves in this journal. It's very important to us, and we're really proud of what we've created. Many youth we serve suffer from bullying economic uncertainty, homophobia, racism, and racial inequities. And in silence, they deal with anxiety, depression, and suicidal thoughts, often on their own. Express It becomes a space where they can build long-lasting community support and talk about their emotions and what they're going through in a space that's safe for them, and learn healthy social and emotional tools that they can use to thrive and improve their lives and relationships. And on top of that, we don't just do the programming and then leave them. We make sure we have continued communication with the youth we serve, and that they know that we're always there for them and can continue to offer support outside of the Express It program alone, which is very important. Some of the youth, in fact, a lot of them become youth advocates, where they then take the Express It journals and bring them into their communities, be it their schools, their community centers, programs they're a part of, GSAs, and then become empowered enough to co-lead or lead the programs themselves, which we're very proud of, being able to support growth and inner healing for them. We serve youth through a multitude of different ways, through partnerships with schools, hospitals, mental health and suicide prevention facilities, LGBTQ plus diversity clubs and organizations, and other youth serving organizations, including, as you can see, the YMCA, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and Girls Inc., just to name a few. And we really can't wait to continue to support our youth and the communities they're a part of. As I'm sure you all know, when we take care of our youth, we really are taking care of our communities and each other. And really allowing our community to know that they deserve to be cared for and thrive in all of the spaces they show up in. So we're always very grateful for the support. Here's another example of some programming that we've done where we had them share what's in their heart and how they celebrate their LGBTQ plus identity. And we were very moved by all of the beautiful pieces that they created. Finally, the calls to action that are very important to us, that really help us continue the work we do and help us really support youth in the largest way that we can. We really prioritize both outreach and being able to build a strong coalition of community members, and also quality, being able to continually support them, as I mentioned earlier, being able to have long-lasting relationships, build mentorship. And so some of the ways that community is one of the staples of Free to Love and all that we do, and some of the ways that our work can continue to grow and thrive, is by having people connect us to their local spaces and leaders with our programming. For example, we had a middle school teen reach out expressing interest in collaborating to support her peers' mental health. Her school was really struggling with mental health issues, bullying, a bullying pandemic, and the isolation of coming back out of COVID. And so we invited her to become a youth advocate. Essentially, a youth advocate is a youth that wants to bring Free to Love's ethos and their passion to their local community, where they can harness their passions and connect with Free to Love, and we can empower them to use that fire and passion they have in a way that makes the world around them a better place. So for example, we've had youth that are passionate about arts-based programming, and obviously that connects with us. We've had youth want to have conversations around LGBTQ plus identities, and maybe a space where the GSA in their school is the only space they can talk about that, the only space they can be themselves. We want to be able to harness that and offer them these Express It journals free of charge, and the trainings either for them or their community leaders to be able to facilitate Express It. So we invited her to become a youth advocate, and together we created a school-wide mental health community event that included mental wellness workshops facilitated by every teacher, and interactive community art murals filled with conversations. Some of the banners that I showed earlier, let me see if I can find a bigger page, are some examples of this. So for example, this You Matter banner, they get to display it in their community spaces, and while they're creating it, have conversations around what it means to be seen, what it means to celebrate who you are, what it means to take care of your mental health, and connect with their peers in a way that without this safe space, they might feel embarrassed to do, might not know how to start on their own. And it also allows community leaders, teachers, mentors, etc., to be able to have a jumping off point to have these conversations with their youth that I think we all want to have and have gotten significantly better at having, but sometimes don't know where to start. And so we really want to be able to not only help them by setting them up with the programming, but then I also facilitate trainings where We walk them through a mock workshop or mock conversations around these banners to really be able to know talking points, how to keep youth safe during these conversations, how to encourage community, timing, and how they can really encourage continued conversations after the programs themselves. So we really want to empower the adults and the youth within the program and long after it, and make sure that the effects that we're having on them are long lasting. And we're really proud from all of the feedback that we've gotten that that has happened. We've heard dramatic increases in mental wellness, youth feeling empowered and advocating for themselves within schools, youth taking care of each other and creating anti-bullying initiatives and art-based programming within their spaces. So we're really grateful and proud of the long-lasting work that the youth create within our programs. And we're really grateful to be a part of their journey. Yeah, again, after we created these community art field murals with her and the workshops, our event was so profound that the counselor and principal reached out post-event and requested our Express It program for their entire school. We're now providing over 1,000 students with our Express It program, and we're very proud of that. And really encouraging this school, not just the single youth that had this inspiration, but encouraging the school to support her passion. And they beautifully have. And this was in Seattle. And the really profound effect of the school rallying behind this youth and encouraging her to follow her passion and make this change, and us being able to hold hands with her, was really profound. Another example of youth having a permanent effect, not only us being able to support them, but them in turn rallying behind us. We have a youth that we've worked with for, I want to say, about 10 years, named Kamani. She was 8 or 9 when she first started programming with us, and she was a part of Big Brothers Big Sisters mentorship program. And she did the Express It program with us and created, and it was really a beautiful experience. And now she is one of our not only youth advocates, but youth mentors, that when we have tabling events or need a co-leader within programs, she's the first person to want to be a part of it, and really has grown into a beautiful young woman in taking her story and what she needed to use Express It for, and turning around and empowering fellow youth that were in the same space she was, and really sharing her story and her creative expression to empower them to now do the same. And there is nothing quite like relatability and peer-to-peer mentorship, and knowing you're supported by people who understand you. And so we're very proud of her and everything that she's accomplished and who she's become. Another way you can support, obviously, us being a nonprofit, is donating. Obviously, especially with COVID, funding is the primary goal and the primary lifeblood that allows us to do this. We really always want to make sure that our programming is free of charge to the youth that need access to it. Wealth distribution and a lack of finances for youth often then denies them the accessibility to mental health care, unfortunately. And on top of that, art-based programming is consistently being cut, as we've heard, for a long time now. And so we really want to be the space where there's no barriers to entry for them. And so having community support, and when you donate, you help us ensure that we can continue to offer this program to them, to youth that need it, and it saves lives. We've had youth after programming talk about how they were feeling suicidal or overwhelmed by life, and having a space where they could just talk about their struggles helped them get the help they needed and really find a way to process emotions in a way that was safe for them. We really want to help the hearts of youth that are going through bullying, mental health struggles, growing into their identity, and youth that need to find community to do that. And so having community-based funding and partnerships, as we all know, is very helpful to us. I'm sure we're no stranger to knowing how helpful our dollar can go in making a difference and a change. And we really want you to know where your funding is going. So if you ever donate and you're interested in where it's going, you can ask us, and we'd love to share the Express It journals where they've gone. We love to share the youth that we've helped. We really love to show that every donation is going into our outreach and into our programming. That's very, very important to us. And then finally, if someone you know is ever in need of support, or if you need support yourself, we have a page on our website called Get Support. The link will hopefully be in the chat. I'll make sure to put it there if it isn't. we want to be a space where you know you can feel seen and heard. That if you need resources or want to be connected with mental health care, that you know that you're welcomed and really wanted and welcomed by us, and that you're important to us. And I know we mentioned 10 to 22 for the expression journals, but we've worked with adults in the past. We've worked with a women's shelter for women who were leaving abusive relationships or dealing with substance struggles, and got them expression journals and gave them a space to be seen and heard, because we all deserve to have our mental health cared for. And we all deserve to learn how to advocate for ourselves. But when we don't feel empowered to do that, to know that at least we have someone in our corner rallying and caring about us. One of the beautiful things about our districts is that I do think Seattle is really good at rallying behind each other. I think we always want to be growing. We always want to have a progressive outlook on how we care for each other, how we can improve our communities, how we can support one another. And I think the fact that we have grown and really thrived in Seattle is a testament to that, how much we really want to improve the world around us and take care of each other and advocate for the world around us. And so that's one of the many reasons why I'm very grateful for this opportunity to connect with you all and really find a way to connect with you as community leaders. The fact that you're here means you care. The fact that you're spending your Wednesday afternoon after you get home from potentially work or caring for your kids or your job, or even just potentially, hopefully for you, maybe having a day off, but spending this time with us learning more, is a testament to you. And so if you have something in your mind that popped in that you feel could be supportive or helpful that maybe I haven't mentioned, a community connection or a space where you feel you have knowledge that would be helpful, we're always open to innovative and creative ways of partnering with our community. We're pretty good at being artsy. I know sometimes we get pushed up next to Portland with our hipster style, but there's something to us all having some thread of creativity or care for each other. And that really can make all the difference. And so, yeah, essentially, I'd also love for you to know what a workshop looks like. I know I mentioned we picked a theme. We tend to partner for a multitude of weeks with the youth as well. It's very rarely, if ever, a one-off. We like to have anywhere from 6 to 8 week programs. We're partnering with a community center where actually we're going from September till next June or July, I think it is, and having continuous programming with that youth that they're going to be empowered to influence and share what's important to them, and have this continuous space to have this connection. And I think the beautiful thing about that is that, again, we get to cover a wide range of issues from bullying to mental health to identity. Instead of trying to cram everything into an hour, we give them time to process emotions, share their thoughts and what's important to them, and know that we're going to be there for them for a continuous amount of time. And we're very proud of that and of them for being brave and sharing this space. So I'm very grateful again for you all and the time that you've shared. And I'd love to take any questions, if you have any, or if you're more comfortable putting them in chat. I would love to answer some of those as well. Does anyone have anything on their mind? Maybe any ideas or questions? There's no silly questions. And if you've gotten here late, I don't mind repeating anything as well.
Hi, Red. This is Graham. So growing up in school, GLSEN was a very helpful organization and resource. And I'm curious, I feel like an organization like yours is now needed more than maybe in recent years, previous recent years. But perhaps the the districts you need to be in are maybe the most challenging to get into. So how are you handling that or managing that, getting around, activist school boards that may be more aggressive and pushing organizations out, or even states that are banning discussions like this?
For sure. I think a few of the ways. One is often that we connect with local community leaders who understand the specific barriers of their community needs and can help us come up with a game plan to figure out how best to approach it. So for schools specifically, partnering with youth that are leaders within that space has been super helpful, because there is a rallying behind there's a power in knowing that the youth in your space want this. You know, to see youth engaged, especially in school systems, is really encouraging and very rarely discouraged. So I think having people on the ground is one of the most powerful tools we have, as well as partnering with organizations that aren't necessarily within the school system, that are sort of the inverse activist groups that want mental health programming. That really, for example, we're having a conversation with someone who's in the district of Marjorie Taylor Greene, and they have an LGBTQ plus club. And they've created this club in, not necessarily in reaction, but to build a community space while facing that adversity. And we really want them to know that we rally behind them to create that. So as far as like literal technical tools that we use, partnering with local community leaders is very helpful. And then on top of that, having statistics, having like, here's the mental health crisis that's going on in your area, or here's the bullying epidemic, or here's the amount of art programs that have been cut, and really reminding them of the need for this. That if you don't necessarily, if you're not a safe space for LGBTQ plus youth, that we're also an art-based program and you need that. And so finding the niche that we can blend into to really get our foot in the door, and then continue to expand from there, is also another tool we use. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, if you're working in Marjorie Taylor Greene's district, that's impressive.
I know we're very, you know, every space has a different need, especially as I'm sure we've all seen with the anti-LGBT bills going around, or with the COVID pandemic. The lack of mental health care in community spaces, we really find those needs in every space that we're in and approach it based on what we've seen is lacking in that space or is needed. And so having a district that's run by someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene sort of points arrows at what that community space maybe needs, and the support that they need from someone who isn't in a district like that, and really being able to hold hands and remind them they're not alone, both as community members and as individuals, is very important to us.
All right, I have one question in the chat. What does GSA stand for? And a nice shout out to you, as this is an incredible program, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much. That's very kind. So GSA used to stand for Gay Straight Alliance, but now it has a new meaning that, let me see if I can find it. I'm trying to remember school program, because it had a new definition kind of recently that was more inclusive. Genders and Sexuality Alliance. So it used to be Gay Straight Alliance, and now it's Genders and Sexuality Alliance. So it's essentially LGBTQ plus groups that are often within schools, that help youth get connected with resources that they need, be it like medical care, mental health care, arts-based programming that allows them to express that part of their identity. And I see Mr. Porter has a question.
Yes, thank you for a wonderful program. This past summer, I joined the Trevor Bicycle Cycling. You cycle for whatever number of miles. And I was really heartened by the number of people who quickly helped me raise the money. In fact, I raised the ask 3 times, and the community really met it quickly. And I had commented, if cycling 1,000 miles saved one life, I'd do it every day.
Oh.
And I'm wondering if you have any association or work with the Trevor Project.
Ooh, I feel like we've done programming with them in the past. We really love the work they do. First of all, congratulations. That is a feat. So big applause to you. And I'm really also heartened to hear the support that you had rallying behind you. Is really a beautiful thing. So congrats on that as well. I don't remember off the top of my head if we've partnered with the Trevor Project. I can check into that and share within the Community Hub space on the 43rd District's website. And we can put a little blurb that you can check in later. We're also going to have a video of some of the programming we've done in the past that can share, like it'll say a little like, oh, we partner with Trevor Project. And that way you'll know it's for you, a little wink and nod. I also can check. Let me ask someone who would know the project and see if they get back to me. But I feel like we have. I feel like we've done. I feel like it actually was an online campaign where we had someone use the hashtag like "you're seen" or something along those lines, and where they shared their story on social media. Because as we all know, social media is both a beautiful place and can be a really painful, difficult place for all of us, but especially for young adults. And so I think we partnered with them to create a safe social media space where youth could share their stories and hear each other's life experiences, if I remember correctly.
One last question.
Of course.
What's the advice you have to quickly intervene or stop the othering and minimizing? And believe it or not, even in the Trevor Project Facebook group, it happened.
For sure.
Where someone had commented they didn't see the big deal about, 50 miles because you can do 50 miles in a day. And I said, it isn't the miles traveled, it's the work and point behind it, but it kind of can take on a conversation of its own.
Totally. I think first things first, prioritizing your mental health when advocating for yourself and others, really remembering that you deserve to be cared for and not be exhausted by other people's ignorance is really important. Also, that your anger or frustration or sadness is justified. I think sometimes we can feel a frustration and then are even shamed externally about that frustration. Like, I'm sure we all have experiences where we're being reactive or dramatic, or that it's not that serious, or it's just a joke, or whatever it is. And really knowing that your reaction to that ignorance is completely valid and deserves to take up space. I think it's a case-by-case basis. Some people are open to education. They think what they're saying isn't that deep. And when someone reminds them, like you were saying, well, actually, that might not seem like a lot to you, but I've also invested XYZ hours in training. And it might just be something as simple as like, oh, I haven't thought of it from that perspective. And that can shift minds. There are some people who are not open to education. And I think remembering that that's often their insecurities and their own issue with whatever they lack confidence in, and doing your best to, if you want to engage, keep it as safe for you as possible. And again, share like, here are the facts. Here's how I'm feeling about it. And then the block button is there for a reason. We often encourage youth to remove people from their space. I think it's finding that balance between engaging when we feel like it's worth it to us, and disengaging and removing draining people from our space when it isn't, when they're just trolling or wanting to cause harm to feel bigger and more important. And I think it's weighing the mental and emotional toll either one of those actions will take on you. For example, like a little role play, if you said to me, like, I don't see the importance of art-based programming. Really, when I was a kid, I didn't have access to it and I turned out fine. I turned to cycling and sports and my mental health's fine. Sharing like, actually, here are, and I would have them pulled up. Here's a statistic on how arts help mental health. And here's my personal story where I was struggling with insecurity around friendship and I turned to art and it helped me process emotions. So here's a personal story. Here's, fact-based evidence. And, I understand maybe you didn't have access to the arts, but you should have. And I'm sorry you didn't. And if you ever want to be a part of that, I'll be here waiting for you. And if you keep trolling, then being like, I hear that you're not connecting with what I'm saying. I'm sure there's a space that welcomes your opinion, and being able to distance if there's no longer room for healthy engagement. So that's sort of what I would do and find often works best. But I do definitely hear your, you don't necessarily seem frustrated, but I hear the importance of it to you. And I'm sure we all have something that has caused that feeling within us. And so maybe even being able to find people who saw that too and being able to vent to them sometimes is helpful. Like, this thing was happening on this Facebook page. Can you believe? Like, no, I can't believe it's supposed to be a welcoming space. And you get to feel that frustration in a way where you're cared for and the person venting with you is cared for. And then you don't have to engage that person that's causing the harm, but you get to process it simultaneously. So those are some tools that I have found to be helpful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course. I love your background, by the way. It's very nature chic. I love
That's my
it.
backyard.
Beautiful. I love it.
All right, I
then-
have this isn't really a question, but I do want to call it out.
Mhm.
Just wanted to say that Ann Martin has just donated to your group and said it was really easy. So I would just encourage everyone to do the same.
Well, thank you so much. That's very kind. We really appreciate it. And just so you know, that will go directly to Express It journals, and getting them into youth's hands and the programming. So you've definitely helped the youth have a space to do what we talked about today, express themselves and create. So I really appreciate that. I, again, really appreciate not only the time you've spent here, but the fact that you all are engaged and care. I think we all have something that's important to us. And it's always nice when I'm very privileged in that I've gotten to make it my job. And I think it always feels very special when other people even just give you the space to talk about it. So I'm very grateful that y'all are here and listening in and that we were given this opportunity. As I think Miss Carla's shirt says, ignite change. I think we all really want to do that. So that's cool. That's why I'm repping the Free to Love merch today. So we'll have to get like a cool blue one at some point.
We'll have to get you, Araya, a t-shirt. This is our 34th t-shirt. So
I love that. We could trade. I'll send you one or
That's the deal.
we could trade back and forth. That'd be awesome. Yeah, again, if y'all ever have any ideas on community spaces that you're connected to that would benefit from this program, or if you would like access to journals, I would really love, let me see if I can pull up the page where you can get it. There's a space on our website where you can get support. And again, if you want to potentially share a space that needs support or you have an idea, do you know if the Get Support page is already in chat? Would I be?
yes,
Okay.
it is
Awesome. So if you
on top
scroll
of
to the
the
bottom,
questions.
oh, beautiful. If you scroll to the bottom, there will be a space that says free mental wellness resource. And that's where you can put your first and last name, the organization you're with, your email, that kind of thing. And we don't sell the email, we don't share it. It's purely so that we can contact you to be able to have access to it, and we can connect that way. And so again, if you need support, the Get Support page is a very helpful space to learn more about what we can offer you and really allow you to connect with our work. So thank you for putting that in the chat. And then did you mention there was a question maybe I missed?
No, I think that's it so far. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay.
No worries. Let me see. I also will share just our general website link so that you can have access to it, where it shares more about our mission. I know sometimes for me, at the very least, I sometimes have questions that pop into my head at 3 a.m. So if y'all ever have questions, or if they pop into my head either in the shower when I can't write them down, or 3 a.m. where even if I write them down, I can't read the handwriting. So if y'all ever have anything pop into your head, always feel free to reach out. There's a cat mascot. Mr. Stefan has a cute little kitty. Sorry, I got distracted. If y'all ever have any ideas or need any form of support, even if it's something that I haven't mentioned that just seems kind of out there, we'd love to be creative with y'all and really support and brainstorm with you if there's something that you're like, this isn't something she mentioned, but maybe it'd be interesting. We're always open to that. So I'm really, again, I'm really grateful and excited that I got to share this with y'all. How about you, Miss Carla? Do you have anything that you feel I didn't mention that would be important to them all?
No, I think we've covered it. Graham, anything from your side?
No, I think it's been really awesome. We have some school board candidates in attendance, so I think this is a really awesome program for them to hear about.
I love that. For the school board, is there any sort of programming or thing that you mentioned, or thing that maybe you heard me mention and Express It that you feel would benefit your space? We're always interested in learning how best to connect with you all and sort of your needs and wants, and really hearing about what you're going through. So if there's something maybe even that you want to vent about, or something mental health wise or bullying wise that you feel you haven't gotten to be heard on, I'd love to hear it and learn more from y'all if you're comfortable sharing. No pressure if not.
Araya, is there an email address that folks could get in touch with you or someone from
Yes.
your group? If you want to put that in the chat, that is totally acceptable.
Awesome. Thank you
And
very
with
much.
that, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording this segment. And Graham, whenever you are ready, we'll get started with the regular meeting.
Sure.